planted quite a bit of seed over this last weekend, so I just wanted to show you how everything's coming up. I've actually got a lot of lettuce and spinach that just started coming up in my garden. You can see it's all over on this side. And then in here I planted a few herbs. So I've got some little plants starting to come up there. My alpine strawberries look amazing. They're very little, but my grandkids just love to come out and pick these and eat them. They're really tiny. They're not big strawberries, but they grow like weeds, so I'm just leave them there. Different little herbs starting to grow in my container. Over here I've got some rhubarb that's really taking off. And then I've got some cilantro that I planted all around it, and it's actually doing really well. These are some beet rows that I planted, and you can see they're doing really good. And then these are very hard to see, but these are my carrot rows, and they're starting to come up. I noticed they just started popping up. This one seems to have a lot that are coming up. They were different kinds of carrots, so some of them are going to come up a little quicker than others, but they're all going to come up. This is my elephant dill that really looks amazing here. And I've got some pickling cucumbers along this fence. Actually, these are regular cucumbers. These are pickling cucumbers. And I'm growing dill in between all of those. And that started coming up. Then I've got pickling cucumbers going all along the side of the fence here. I've got a couple zucchinis that have started to grow. These are a few onions that are growing next to my tomato plants. And I'll be pruning my tomatoes today. I've already got some huge plants growing, so I'm going to take care of some of those. Some of these are Abe Lincoln. Some of these are Better Boys. I've got some black strawberry tomatoes. I've got all kinds of tomatoes growing, and they're doing really, really well. Here's some more tomatoes. Got a few flowers mixed in, but primarily over here I've got bell peppers. And as you can see, some of those are doing really well. They're already starting to flower. It's only been 2 weeks. I mean, the plants are doing really good. These are a couple of lettuces that I grew. I've got some romaine over here. I've got some, I thought these were called Tom Thumb. They're doing really well. They're not going to get real big, but they're supposed to be real good. And these are some pole beans that I'm growing along my trellis. Look how beautiful that romaine lettuce is. Those peppers. They're all basically green and yellow, red bell peppers. I didn't really do any hot peppers this year. These are just more tomatoes and dahlias in the middle. I'm gonna, like I said, I need to start going through and I need to prune some of these tomatoes. I've got some, I believe over here I planted more pole beans. So I had 2 rows of pole beans. And then over here I've got my spaghetti squash. This is all spaghetti squash here. These are pumpkins right along the edge here. I really only had a few come up. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm going to plant a few more seeds. For some reason they didn't seem to come up real good. These are dahlias and some Tom Thumb lettuce. I've got a few little zinnias. These are my onions. They're doing really well. I've got some red and white onions. They're the Elisa Craig onions. As I said, I have some cucumbers growing right along the edge of this little fence here that I have. And I've got some cucumbers and some dill in between the cucumbers that's starting to grow. This is some stevia. I've never grown it before, but it seems to be doing pretty well. Tomatoes doing really well, but I need to stake them because they are growing pretty tall, and kind of prune them. Over here I see 0 garlic growing, so I think I'm going to have to pull that up. I don't know what happened, but it's just not taking off. This is all my basil that just started popping up. I'm going to have a lot of basil. This year I planted lime basil and then just the regular basil. This is, what is it called? It's like celery. It's a lavage. This is lavage. It all started coming up. I want a little patch here. See, there's just little plants everywhere. I have some radishes that have started to grow and all kinds of other little herbs and things that I'm growing here. Actually, these are beets that just started coming up. Thanks for joining me today. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.